Argentina and England, folks, and it's another English victory, 22 points to 17. A late try to Jack Van Poortvliet secures the win for England. It's 2 wins over in Argentina for them. Series completed. They've still got another match, I think, against the US next week, but things are ticking along pretty nicely as the depth of English rugby under Steve Borthwick gets tested. And for Argentina, I know they're testing a bit of depth as well because they have to rotate their players with so many guys playing in Europe and then having to go through a full rugby championship, not really getting a proper off-season. It means Contepomi has to rotate the squad, but it's a bit concerning. Not just the result, but the way the second half went down. I feel like they will not be happy with the way they were just unable to escape their own half. Territorial dominance from England. Bit of a masterclass, really. Argentinian handling errors and England's kicking game combining for a pretty ugly result for the Argentinians. But that being said, it was 17 apiece right until that last try. So despite all the stats, Argentina were still very much in it. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts before I head off to watch Portugal against Ireland, which people have been telling me in the comments of other games is something of an interesting watch, to put it mildly. Someone needs to tell the commentator who was doing the comms for this one, I forget his name, that the Red Roses is not the English men's team. He kept calling England the Red Roses. That's the women's team. It'd be like watching an All Blacks game and calling them the Black Ferns. It's just a different team. I know they have a red rose on the jersey, but they're not the Red Roses. That's the women's team. Get that out of the way first. England, who are not the Red Roses, had a flying start. Atkinson gets the first try, and it's that bloody kicking game from England. George Ford dinks through for Roebuck, and inside ball, I think it was to Northmore. He pops it to Atkinson. Hell of a flying start from England, 7 points to 0. The kicking game was going to be evident, like popping up high balls. It caused the Argentinians problems all day long. They did manage to get a reply with a penalty, the Argentinians, to at least get themselves on the board, 7 points to 3. But England certainly had the better of the opening stanza. England were putting pressure on the scrum as well, although it was Baxter who conceded the first penalty at scrum time for getting his knee on the ground as they tried to shove. And then bad news for England as Ben Curry got himself yellow carded for a slightly high shot on Pablo Matera. His yellow card stays yellow. And Argentina did manage to get themselves a try through Lucio Cinti. That one was a nice one as Benitez Cruz kind of bobbled the ball as they finally stopped knocking the thing on for a change. He came close to it. A bit of bobbled ball, but he's able to retain it. And then Cinti with the support line makes it 10 points to 7, an Argentinian lead. They probably could have had more points if not for the fact that they, as I said, found the ball just a slippery thing to handle at times. Argentina, though, I mean, they worked well against the Lions when they played them over in Europe, but at times a little bit too ambitious. You felt in their own half when they lost possession in their own half, it gave England a chance down the right end of the field. The scrum from England got themselves an advantage. Roebuck went down the right wing, and then Underhill with a big carry, pretty much up the guts, then shifted left to Freddie Stewart. Try time for England, pretty well worked. Steve Borthwick gets criticised for not playing sexy rugby at times. That try was some pretty sexy stuff, so 14 points to 10, England in front. And then right before halftime, Argentina with a 50-22. One last throw of the dice. They put a little dinking kick through from the resulting line-out play. That hits the post, which is a bit of an unfortunate one for Freddie Stewart because he's unable to grab it. Mendy is able to pounce on it. And it's a bit lucky, but you got to put yourself in the race. Chase those kicks, and they get it. So Argentina go into the sheds with a 17 points to 14 lead. The possession and territory by that stage is relatively even. The clean breaks is 4-5 in favour of England. The English line-out has not been firing 100%, and the Argentinians, as I said, have dropped too much ball. 10 turnovers conceded in one half of rugby is a bit too much. But hey, it's 17 points to 14. It's a lead for them. But they don't score any points in the second half. They could barely get out of their half in the second half. They started the half with a few penalties conceded. I think it was Rubiolo lost his shirt at one point. He was having to tackle shirtless, which is not something you see every day. George Ford's penalty on 53 minutes evens the scoreline up. And you felt like that was pretty good value for all the pressure England were putting on. Matera then got himself yellow carded for infringement under consistent pressure. But England couldn't land the killer blow, man. Pepper had a big line break. He got ankle tapped. Murley went down the left wing. He went close, but they lost it forward. The Argentinian crowd gave a big cheer with Elizalde, like took a high ball kind of cleanly because they had areas under that area of the game, but they were able to see out the yellow card without conceding any points. Moroni had an intercept to shut down an England attack. Facundo Issa won a penalty, not a penalty, won a clean turnover in their own 22. So Argentina hanging on for grim death in that second half, but eventually, again, a little bit too ambitious in their own half. I think it was Elizalde who lost the ball. Apoka Fajur, the big prop from the bench, he pounced on it, and they shifted it to Pepper, who is, something of a spectacle when he's in open field. He's a big man, but he can move. And then Van Poortvliet with the support line takes the pass from him. That is the match winner. Missed conversion, but 22 points to 17. As I said, it's a 2-from-2 series win for England over in Argentina. The stats in the second half are nuts because the possession finishes 56-44, but in the second half it was 60-40. The territory finishes 71-29. In the second half it was 81-19, which is about as lopsided as I have ever seen in a match between two Tier 1 sides, especially with the home side on the wrong end of that. That is nuts. Run meters is 594 to 280 to England. Defenders beaten 38-20 to England. Clean breaks 9-4 to England. If anything, England probably should have won this game by more. If not for, like I said, the Moroni interceptor, Issa winning over turnover, Matera winning turnovers and whatnot. Matera won 3. Montoya had 18 tackles, but it was a pretty tough day at the office for the Argentinians. Hayes made 15 tackles for England in his shift. Tom Willis, 7 defenders beaten, continues to impress. Freddie Stewart at 136 metres. The next best guy who had in this game was 60, and it was Roebuck. So, yeah, as I said, George Ford pulls the strings. 40 kicks from England. Cross kicks, up and unders and whatnot, just causing the Argentinians problems all day long. And then 12 penalties conceded to 5. Always going to be a hard day at the office for the Argentinians with those numbers, but the scoreline was close. I've been led to believe the scoreline in Portugal-Ireland is a bit less close. I'll go check that one out now. But you guys let us know your thoughts on England's win over Argentina. It'll be interesting to see how Contepomi shifts up the side ahead of the Rugby Championship, and I'm sure Steve Borthwick will ring some changes for next week's match against the US from their point of view. But ultimately, like in the World Rankings, this is a cracking result for England, and Argentina, if I'm not mistaken, drop out of the top 6 with this, and they'll be surpassed by the Aussies, who will become suddenly a top-seeded side for the World Cup draw if things stay the way they are. Still plenty of rugby to be played between now and the World Cup draw. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.